Okay, cool.
So is this the first port of call in Manchester in Europe for your tour?
We actually were in Glasgow yesterday. We did a record store, and then we played a pub show that we organized at 3 p.m. and there was a record store show that we had scheduled, and people bought the record in advance and filled up the record store, but it just didn't feel like enough for Glasgow. So we did a impromptu last minute pub show that was rammed and really fun in the nighttime. So this is the third show, actually.
All right, yeah. That's
but it was
brilliant.
it's the first one we announced. This Manchester show, and it should be cool. I've never played at Deaf Institute before. I wanted to do a preview of the new record in small venues, and so it was. This feels really like a singer-songwriter kind of night.
Yeah, it's a good venue. Yeah,
it's really cool. So I'm excited. I was supposed to be here with my brother, but his father-in-law passed suddenly. His wife's father passed right before we were supposed to start. So he's there with his side of the her side of the family.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna do the run solo. He was supposed to open the show and then play with me.
I'd noticed you play with your brother because you're in another band as well, aren't you? Is that with your brother?
It's Dave Hause and the Mermaids. So that's just when we play with a full band, we let people know that it's Dave Hause and the Mermaids. So it's a full rock and roll band, and then sometimes play solo. Very rarely now. Mostly I play with Tim. So it's unfortunate to not have him. It's very strange.
Yeah.
It's we've really grown accustomed to playing more as a duo than anything else.
I can imagine.
Kind of, it adds a little bit more pressure. I haven't done solo gigs in a long time.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you'll be fine. But, I've noticed you've got many shows around Europe as well, and I was checking, and most are sold out. So how have you sort of built the sort of audience and fan base around Europe, being so far away?
Well, it was the first thing. I put out my very first record in 2011, and I did a tour called the Revival Tour, and it was Brian from Gaslight Anthem, Chuck from Hot Water Music, Dan from Alkaline Trio, and myself. And that really, we did that as all four of us would take the stage together, and we would play each other's songs. And that was on my very first record, so it was really kind of an introduction to a wide audience.
I can imagine.
Right away. And then after that, I opened for Alkaline Trio and Gaslight Anthem, one after the other, and did a tour with my friend Joey Kate. Those guys were all old friends from my old band, The Loved Ones. And so I was given, a lot of opportunities early on between the first and second record to play to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of grew from there.
I can imagine, yeah.
And we've been kind of headlining for the most part ever since. We did some little stuff with Gogol Bordello at one point. And so, when you support other bands, it does help. And then, we've built, this is the sixth record that's about to come out. So we've been over quite a bit and started a long conversation with the audience.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that's great then, yeah. I noticed you just mentioned with the beer, and you've got one of your latest songs, Hazard Lights, that sort of explores the idea of being sober and the temptations. Is it ever tempting to get on the beer, especially when you're touring? Or?
There's a small temptation. I mean, I've been sober since 2015, so I would say that it creeps up. I mean, that song is kind of an examination of that feeling, closer to when you first make the change. And really it's about making any difficult change, anything that's uncomfortable. You feel like you're not quite in the traffic and you're not quite parked. You're just kind of sitting there unsure of what's next with the hazard lights on. And so, there's a temptation at points, but the older I get, I mean, I have 2 kids and a wife, and, I have a fairly busy life, and I feel like if I were to go back to that, it would maybe be fun for a little while, but I think it would cause a lot of trouble. So I practiced that at the act of self-control for a long time.
I can imagine.
The temptation's not as much there.
Right, yeah. And Drive It Like It's Stolen, that's your upcoming album, isn't it? Yeah. That's the... Is it April? It's coming
comes out the end of
next.
April,
Yeah.
and that's what essentially we're here to kind of preview for people.
Yeah.
Is that record. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. This is the third album that we've put out on our own label. Fourth really, but third full-length solo release. So Blood Harmony was my last record, and then my brother Tim put out his debut, and then now this one. So we've kind of figured out some new tricks, and we actually have the vinyl with us 2 months early, or no, I guess it's about a month early now.
Yeah.
So it's been exciting to preview the songs, and then people can buy the record early before it even comes out.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it's great you're releasing it on your own label as well.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We get to kind of call our own shots and release it when we want, and not really have to answer to as many people. And we also, if it does well, we're the main recipients of the reward of that risk. So
yeah, exactly.
It's a great thing for independent artists to have control of their intellectual property, I've found. And so it's really kind of changed the way we've done things. I made 4 solo records between 2011 and 2019, and we've put out 4 records since 2020.
Right. Yeah.
So
great.
We're able to move a lot quicker and
get them out quick.
Yeah, when we can call the shots. So yeah, it's been really exciting.
Yeah, so obviously you're playing all around Europe and around USA as well. Have you got a most memorable gig you've ever played at, or like one of the ones that stand out? You think, wow.
There's one on every tour. I mean, we were here in September touring on our last record with the full band, and there was a really small show in Switzerland that was really passionate and exciting, that really surprised me, and that really stands out. And the Glasgow show from that tour was really special. And then as far as Germany, there's always 1 or 2 really good ones. I'm trying to think on that tour what my favorite night was. It's probably Cologne on that tour. But yeah, it's hard to kind of judge them from the perspective of like favorite ever, because there are certain mountaintops you get to. I remember 2018, my brother and I played 2 shows at the Ringkirche in Wiesbaden, Germany, and that was like a round, beautiful, ornate church that we played in, and that felt like a mountaintop. But then, this is my job, so you can't really put too much importance on what you just did. You got to look ahead.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So I always try to think of my favorite shows as upcoming. There's
definitely
been some special moments. There's been some little mountains we've climbed over the years, but then you just like sort of set your sights to what you want to do next. That's kind of the way to not. I've found that by like sort of picking a favorite gig or something, you can get stuck in that moment, and then you can never beat that expectation if you keep telling yourself it was great. So you just try it. Like tonight, maybe this will be it. I don't know. The idea
you never
is
know.
To like live in the moment and push forward. For me, that's always been the most healthy way for me to look at it. Yeah.
No, I've listened to quite a bit of your music, and I like the influence of punk rock and the Americana. It's a great mix,
Thanks, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of what comes out these days, out of me. Like, it's some mix of what I was brought up on, and then what the punk rock thing is kind of how I came into performing, and so there's a certain energy there, and it's just kind of the synthesis of all the things that I like. And the goal is to try to make up a song that you haven't heard that you would like. And so that's all I'm trying to do. My brother and I are just trying to impress each other when we're writing these things.
Yeah. That's good. Well, I won't keep you too long. Just one final thing. Have you got a message for your fans and followers around Europe and America?
Just thank you for giving me and my brother and my band this life, where we can come here and to a place that's pretty far away from what we're used to, and consistently people come out and listen and support what we're doing, and it really does feel like a childhood dream come true.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mixed with it's like the job that you hope for, and then when you get it, it's pretty exciting and special every time. So
yes.
I'm just, for me, it's living in that gratitude while pushing forward towards some next exciting artistic thing.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much, and
Yeah,
I look
man.
forward to hearing you
enjoy
tonight.
the show.
Yeah.